Movies as Opera by Pauline Kael. From The New Yorker, January 5th, 1968. Movies have been doing so much of the same thing, in slightly different ways, for so long, that few of the possibilities of this great hybrid art have yet been explored. At the beginning, movies served many of the functions of primitive theater. They were Punch and Judy shows. But by bringing simple forms of theater and great actors and dancers and singers to the small towns of the world, they helped to create a taste for more complex theater, and by bringing the world to people who couldn't travel, they helped to develop more advanced audiences. When Millais photographed his magic shows, when D.W. Griffith recreated the Civil War or imagined the fall of Babylon, when Pabst made a movie with Chapelain, when Laerty went to photograph life in the Aran Islands or the South Seas, they were just beginning to tap the infinite possibilities of movies to explore, to record, to dramatize. Shipped in tins, movies could go anywhere in the world, taking a synthesis of almost all the known art forms to rich and poor. In terms of the number of people they could reach, movies were so inexpensive that they could be hailed as the great democratic art form. Then, as businessmen gained control of the medium, it became almost impossibly difficult for the artists to try anything new. Movies became, in one way or another, remakes of earlier movies, and until inexpensive pictures from abroad began to attract large audiences, the general public probably believed what the big studios advertised, that great movies meant big stars, bestseller stories, expensive production. The infinite variety of what was possible on film was almost forgotten, along with the pioneers, and many of those who loved movies lost some of their own vision. They began to ask what cinema really was, as if ideal cinema were some pre-existent entity that had to be discovered. Like Platonists turned archaeologists, they tried to unearth the true essence of cinema. Instead of celebrating the multiplicity of things that movies can do better or more easily than the other arts, and new ways and combinations, they looked for the true nature of cinema in what cinema can do that the other arts can't, in artistic apartheid. Some decided on montage, others on purely visual imagery. There was even a period when true cinema was said to be the chase, and for a while audiences were being chased right out of the theaters. They wanted to prove that cinema was a real art, like the other arts, when the whole world instinctively preferred it because it was a bastard, cross-fertilized super art. Cinema, in its pure state, is not to be found, but movies in the 60s began to expand again, and so quickly it's hard to keep up with them. In France, men like Jean-Luc and Chris Marker are extending movies into what were previously thought to be the domains of anthropologists, sociologists, and journalists, while in masculine-feminine, Jean-Luc Godard made a modern love lyric out of journalism and essays and interviews, demonstrating that there are no boundaries in the arts that talent can't cross. Not even the grave. In China is Near, the young Italian director Marco Bellocchio now brings back to startling life a form that had been laid to rest with modern ceremony, that is, with a few regrets, kicks, and jeers. The new great talent, perhaps the genius of Godard, brought chance into the art of movies. Bellocchio's talent, so distinctive that it already resembles genius, flourishes within the confines of intricate plot. China is Near has the boudoir complications of a classic comic opera. Among the 5 principals in China is Near who use each other in every way they can, are a pair of working-class lovers, a secretary and an accountant who scheme to marry into the rich landed gentry. Their targets are a professor, Vittorio, played by Glaucio Maru, who is running for municipal office on the socialist ticket, and his sister Elena, a great lady who lets every man in town climb on top of her, but won't marry because socially they're all beneath her. Vittorio, the rich socialist candidate, is that role so essential to comic opera, the ridiculous lover, the man whose mission in life is to be deceived. And Bellocchio, who wrote the film, with Oda Tatoli, who plays Elena, as well as directed it, has produced a classic modern specimen of the species, a man who's out of it, who doesn't get anything while it's going on. The fifth principal is their little brother, Camillo, who is a prissy, sneering despot, a 17-year-old seminary student turned Maoist who looks the way Edward Albee might look in a drawing by David Levine. Camillo provides the title when he scrawls "China is near" on the walls of the Socialist Party building, his brother's campaign headquarters. Bellocchio uses the underside of family life, the inbred family atmosphere, for borderline horror and humor. His people are so awful, they're funny. One might say that Bellocchio, though he is only 28, sees sex and family and politics as a dirty old man would, except that his movie is so peculiarly exuberant, perhaps only a very young, or a very old, director can focus on such graceless, mean-spirited people with so much enjoyment. As the pairs of lovers combine and recombine, and the five become one big ghastly family, with a yapping little house pet as an emblem of domesticity, Bellocchio makes it all rhyme. He provides the grace of formal design. The grand manner of the movie is hilarious. I found myself smiling at the wit of his technique. It was pleasurable just to see the quick way doors open and close, or how, when the scene shifts to a larger, more public area, there's always something unexpected going on. Surprises that explode what has seemed serious. Bellocchio's visual style is almost incredibly smooth. The camera glides in and out and around the action. He uses it as if there were no obstructions, as if he could do anything he wanted with it. It moves as simply and with as much apparent ease as if it were attached to the director's forehead. In China is Near, as in his first film, I Pugni in Tasca, or Fists in the Pocket, which was made in 1965 and is soon to open in this country, he probably exhibits the most fluid directorial technique since Max Ophuls, and I don't know where it came from, that is, how he developed it so fast. Fists in the Pocket must surely be one of the most astonishing directorial debuts in the history of movies, yet it is hard to know how to react to the movie itself. The material is wild, the direction cool and assured. Fists in the Pocket, which Bellocchio made fresh from film schools in Italy and England, is also about a prosperous family, but a family of diseased monsters. And as epileptic fits multiply between bouts of matricide, fratricide, and incest, one is too busy gasping at the director's technique and the performances of a cast of unknown actors. Lou Castel, with his pug-dog demeanor, and Paola Pitagora, looking like a debauched gazelle, are the best strange brother and sister act since Edouard Demeath and Nicole Stéphan in Les Enfants Terribles, to doubt his directorial genius. But the movie is a portrait of the genius as a very young man. It is so savage, it often seems intended to be funny, but why it was so intended isn't clear. Though Fists in the Pocket is exhilarating because it reveals a new talent Not everybody cares about movies enough to want to see a movie, no matter how brilliant, about a family cage of beasts, and to a casual moviegoer, Fists in the Pocket may seem as heavily charged with misguided energy as one of those epileptic seizures. But in a few years people will probably be going to see it as, after seeing Ingmar Bergman's later films, they went to see his early ones. After only 2 films, Belluccio's characters already seem his, in the way that the characters of certain novelists seem theirs, a way uncommon in movies except in the movies of writer-directors of especially individual temperaments. Belluccio's characters are as much a private zoo as Bunel's. It was not just coincidence when, a few years ago, first one young French director broke through, then another and another. It was obvious not only that they took encouragement from each other, but that they literally inspired each other. Belluccio was preceded in this way by another young Italian, Bernardo Bertolucci, who at 21 directed La Comare Secca, and at 22 wrote and directed the sweepingly romantic Before the Revolution, which also dealt with a provincial family and sex and politics, and which suggested a new operatic approach to movie making. Both these young directors refer to opera the way the French refer to American movies. They not only use operatic structure and themes, but actually introduce performances and recordings of operas, especially Verdi operas, into their work. The bit of opera performed in China is Near is the damnedest thing since Salammbô in Citizen Kane. In the analogy that they draw with the opera, they seem to glory in the hybrid nature of movies, and to Italians movies may seem almost an outgrowth of the hybrid art of opera. If Verdi wrote a larger number of enduring operas than any other composer, perhaps a fifth of the total standard repertory, it's not only because he wrote great music, but also because he filled the stage with action and passion and a variety of good roles for different kinds of voice, which is how these 2 directors make their movies. Maybe, too, these directors are saying that sex and family and politics in modern Italy are still out of Verdi. Both these young Italians are different from the older Italian directors, even those just a little older, like Pasolini, in the way that their movies move. Men like Fellini and Antonioni developed their techniques over the years, laboriously, and their early movies attest to how long it took them to become Fellini and Antonioni. This is not to put them down. Most of us take a long time and never become anything. But to contrast them with Bertolucci and Belluccio, who started their movie careers with masterly techniques, proving that it doesn't take decades of apprenticeship or millions of dollars to tell planned and acted stories, and that there is still joy in this kind of movie making. I think Godard is the most exciting director working in movies today, and it's easy to see how and why he is influencing movie makers all over the world. But chance and spontaneity and improvisation and the documentary are only one way to go, not, as some have begun to think, the only way. The clear triumph of China is Near is that it demonstrates how good other ways can be. Thank you for listening. Now, on their website, this is dated January 5th, and in the book I have, the date here is January 13th, which is not important, but I wanted to let you know in case you like that kind of thing.